Okay, so let's move on to our next conversation. We have Dr. Amponsa Chiano. He's a programs manager, expanded program on immunization at the Ghana Health Service. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Dr. Achano, and thank you very much for making time to speak with us.
Good morning, my friend Israel.
Okay, Dr. Achano, great to have you. So I think that really we just want to know what's happening with the immunization. Over the past few weeks, we've had, quite a number of vaccines come in. We've been reading from the newspapers. And first of all, can you confirm that these vaccines have indeed arrived and that we're on the road? We're doing quite well on the road to getting those 20 million people vaccinated.
Thank you very much and good morning to your cherished viewers and listeners alike. Yes, I can confirm that we've received quite some substantial quantities of vaccines in terms of the number of doses. Even last night, we were at the airport to still take delivery of some additional vaccines.
Okay, so are we on course with our rollout plan?
Well, it's not a straightforward answer, yes or no, but it all depends on us. Initially, we were struggling to get the vaccines because if you had money at the time, you didn't even get the vaccines to buy. The vaccine landscape has changed, and we have quite some substantial quantities.
Okay, so has it changed? Has it changed because there's a lot more production going on or less demand?
Well, it's a very tricky question because at the time when we started in March, I remember high-level management made lots and lots of attempts to even purchase vaccines. They were not getting vaccines to buy. But we knew that around October, all those vaccines that had been reserved in some other major countries would be released. For lack of a better term, let me put it like that. And so you will recall that in some of our conversations, I indicated that we would actually know exactly our roadmap in getting to the vision of vaccinating 20 million people around October ending.
Okay.
And exactly the case, because they've now released the vaccines and we are getting them in droves.
Okay.
So that is the situation.
It sounds like a mystery novel, Dr. Achano. The whole, they were holding the vaccines and will release it in October. I really want to know why. What's the story behind the holding of the...
I have no definitive answers to that. You can guess what happened. And it's not just Ghana. I believe that you've been following the media. The fact that the lower income countries were not getting access to the vaccines. It's not just Ghana, it's all over the world.
Okay. So how many, are you able to give us an idea of how many vaccines we have in stock?
Yeah, definitely. To date, we've taken delivery of about 8.23 million.
Oh, wow, okay.
And we've originally distributed approximately 4 million. And quite recently, we are distributing the rest, the ones that we have received. I would say that the vaccine receipts would have improved around the past 2-3 weeks. That's when we had a lot of influx of vaccines.
Okay.
And so even though I'm talking 8 million, most of the vaccines were received just about 4 weeks coming.
Okay. So is that double doses? Is that one dose? And which of the vaccines are we talking about?
We have a combination of them.
Okay.
But the one that I would say would take about half of the entire consignment would be AstraZeneca. It's about 53% of all the vaccines we've received.
Okay.
But we've also received quite some substantial quantities of Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Moderna.
Okay.
And we've distributed these on paper. We are in touch with the regions. We have a roadmap for deployment, and it's region specific because every region has their own peculiarities based on our past experiences.
Okay.
So I would say that half of these vaccines are AstraZeneca, the other half the others. with the exception of Sputnik, which we just had about, just around 21,000.
Okay.
So otherwise, the rest are paying a little over 1 million.
Okay, you talk about the roadmap for distribution on paper. Do you want to just share with us the criteria that you're using to determine, which regions need, more vaccines than others?
So you will recall that from the beginning, we did what we call population and geographic segmentation. It was based on the risk assessment, people who really need, most at-risk groups and who will need a vaccine first. Suffice to say that if you have some small quantities of vaccines to share, you need to share it in a way that you get a maximum benefit. So we started with, if you recall, those most at risk, that these are the people with underlying conditions, the aged. We define the aged as persons 60 years and above, frontline security persons, frontline health workers, and then, of course, executive, frontline executive, and all those who would have to make decisions. Therefore, we needed to protect them so that they don't fall ill. And then gradually we expanded. Now we are in the second phase where we are doing everybody, irrespective of your risk category. So now we are doing the general population.
Okay, that sounds really good. When you say general population, you know that some people are still going to have, some sorts of concerns, and they're going to, worry about, should I just, what's the plan for achieving, the maximum reach, especially in the more rural areas, which maybe have not, had as much exposure to information?
Yeah, so it's all about communicating risk in terms of the benefits against the risks. Of course, there's no vaccine or no medicine which is 100% efficacious and 100% safe. There's nothing like that. Living life itself, as I always say, is a risk. So you take calculated risks. And so in this dispensation of activities towards preventing COVID, it's about communicating risk. People think that COVID is gone. And so you would recall last year, around this time, we had come out of the second wave, and gradually people were, reverting to their normal ways of life, and then were taken by surprise. So we've been here before. It is not as if when you have cases going down that it means the disease is gone. This is a very treacherous virus that changes its form. And it can do that at any time. And so we just have to guard against that, and we don't have to lower our guard at all. So again, when people perceive that cases are going up, they change their behavior, they now look for vaccines. But I tell you that the best time to fight a disease, an outbreak of a disease, is when you have low or no cases at all. If you get cases going up, of course, you'll be doing firefighting. This is the time for us to do a lot more of the vaccination so that we prevent a fourth wave. Again, there are some countries who are already in the fourth wave. You don't want to join them. And if you've been following the international media, you know that some countries are really suffering.
Yeah.
Very hard hit with the fourth wave. And we really have to take our guard.
Speaking of the fourth wave, I've been a little bit concerned when I see in the newspapers, the numbers that we're expecting for Christmas. The Minister of Tourism, did say we're expecting about 150,000 people to come through during Christmas. We're doing the Beyond the Return. There's Afrochella, Coachella, everything Chella. Lots of chilling planned. I'm not going to try and pitch you against, government in any way, but I really want to know, from a medical point of view, if it's such a good idea. I know that the economy is important. Tourism contributes such a large amount of, money to the running of the country and all of that. But are we in a position to handle those kind of numbers? Do we have the infrastructure in place to handle those numbers, the checking, the testing, all of that? Is it a good idea?
Well, to say good idea or bad idea, it's not for me to to, as it were, judge. But the fact is that I have already indicated that life is about risk taking. You need to do calculated risks. So at a point when you feel that the risk is lower, of course, you definitely will have had the protocols in place. I believe that with the protocols in place, if you are going by them, testing before entering or boarding, testing at the airport, you reduce the risk as much as possible. And then, of course, when you get vaccinated. But as I said, it's about risk. So once you take the risk in a calculated form, I don't think that there will be cause for alarm. Of course, that is why it's so important that you take your vaccine and, of course, the other protocols seriously so that you protect yourself as well.
All right.
And your family.
Dr. Amponsan-Chiano, my friend, I'm taking over the conversation. Yeah, I'd want to come in at this point. Now, there are many people who are watching this show and they are eager to know, where can we go for the vaccines? What are you telling them?
Yes, so I believe that you probably are restricting yourself to Greater Accra. Of course, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we're across the country.
Regions, across the country, all public health facilities, if you look at Ashanti region, for example, they are vaccinating. Greater Accra was vaccinating, but the strategy has changed a bit because we've now got an influx or we've infused new vaccines, so they needed to re-strategize. Yesterday, they had a press briefing or conference, for lack of a better term. They have press interaction, and to this morning, they are completing all the trainings and putting, dotting the I's and T's so that they can take off again with the new vaccines tomorrow being Friday. And it's again across all health facilities, public, and then some selected private facilities as well. I know that they would also be doing what we call the mobile, where teams visit some institutions and churches and mosques and, of course, the community at large, what we normally term as outreaches. And so they are in the process of publishing the infographics that they do.
All right.
And so in no time, maybe by midday or so, it will be out.
Okay. So we're looking forward to having those infographics so we can share them so people can know exactly where to go. But you're indicating that you can go to any public health facility and you can get a vaccine. For the public health facilities, it's non-negotiable. Every public health facility would be vaccinating. All right.
It is the other facilities that probably we would have to know exactly where to go. But for all public facilities, they would be vaccinating.
So that's from tomorrow, Friday?
From tomorrow, yes. Of course, they've been vaccinating even Sunday. They were in the churches and other areas. But if I say from tomorrow, I'm talking about the new vaccines that they've received.
All right. And those two who took their first dose of AstraZeneca, and they're eager to know when can they go for that. Do they have to wait until the dates they were giving, or they can also walk into the facilities?
Well, for the avoidance of doubt, if they walk into the facilities, it's fine because they will definitely. In fact, we have AstraZeneca, and I know that in between, not just Greater Accra, they will be doing the second doses as well. So it will be a combined thing. It was not as if they want to finish everything and then go back to second. They will be combining the two. We have enough AstraZeneca as well. So there's no cause for alarm for the second dose. But if they are doubtful, they can walk into any of the public facilities.
All right, so we're looking as I indicated, we're looking forward to having those infographics so we can share with the rest of the country about where
Definitely. We are trying to compile that for the entire country, but if you look at over 5,000 facilities, it may not be worth it. You need to make them district specific. Right. Otherwise, it won't even be, I would say, it won't be helpful to publish a whole 5,000 facilities anymore.
Yeah. So we've been looking at the COVID-19 dashboard as well. We saw that there are just about 69 new cases. That was for October 27. Are we seeing, so generally there's been a decline in the number of new cases, and the active cases are also around 1,709. Would you say that we're seeing this partly because of the number of vaccines that have been rolled out so far?
Well, you cannot attribute this entirely to vaccines, but obviously all the protocols, including vaccinations, have played a role. However, I would still continue sounding a note of caution that we've been here before. Last year, I remember vividly, cases were going down, everything seemed normal. Again, this is a very treacherous germ which can change form at any time. Remember, we started with an original germ that changed form to alpha, beta, delta, and so on.
Gamma.
And I have been very consistent in my discussions and discourse with the media that I personally do not believe in whether it's alpha or delta or whatever. That is a personal thing and from my experience. What we know is that the virus can change form, and the more forms it changes into, the more ferocious it is. And so we should be careful around this time when we think that the cases are going down. This is when we actually have to up our game.
All right. And then we've also heard the Ghana Football Association indicate that people will be required to show their COVID-19 vaccination certificates before they enter the stadiums to watch football matches. Is the Ghana Health Service considering rolling this out to other events such as entertainment centers and cinemas and the rest?
Well, that is not a decision that I think Ghana Health Service made. Of course, that would probably have also involved the high-level management. I am not totally privy to that information, but I believe that it is based on the fact that we have vaccines to protect people, and therefore we do not put ourselves at unnecessary risk. So if the GFA has taken that decision, I wholeheartedly support that. And it is not in isolation, it is just an international practice. Almost everywhere, starting from Israel, once you complete your vaccination, you are free to go anywhere you want, except that you need to prove, because nobody will want you to pose a risk to others. I think that's the principle.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Kwame Amponsa Chano. He's a programs manager. He's with the Ghana Health Service. Programs manager, expanded program on immunization. We appreciate your time. And
yes,
so
we do.
The word is out there. Please go get your vaccines from tomorrow. It's available at all public health facilities. So go for them and stay safe. Indeed, very soon, the GFA may have started, but before you know, other organizations are going to indicate that you need to show your proof of vaccination before you're allowed into any event center
public
or
gathering.
anything. Yeah, so please take note of that.
Imagine if we did that for funerals.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Sure, yeah, I know.
If we bring in funerals, then
that would be very interesting. Show your vaccination card. It would be amazing. They'll probably cut down our cases by a lot, because we know that a lot of them happening at funerals. But Israel, so you've heard of 5% discount, right? 10%, 15, 20. But 50%, that's a lot.
Yes.
But Sethi Realty is offering you 50% discount on their dwelling properties. Prices are starting from just 210,000 Ghana cedis, just 210K. That's like the price of a brand new car. The price of the brand new car that you mean that's half the price of the Prado that you want? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This offer is for a limited time and on selected units. Terms and conditions apply. So if you're looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom home in a gated community, make sure you call Sethi Realty on 055 143 5555 or 055 143 8888, or you can visit them online www.nyameduragana, so nyame, DUAGH.com. Okay. All right. What are we doing next? We're taking a break. Okay. But then after that, the Ghana Chamber of Mines is talking about commitment to health and safety as part of its National Safety Week. Yeah. So do stay tuned in. We'll be back after this.